Now, you would have an opportunity as the defense attorney to question their witness. What questions might you ask in terms of maybe raising questions with the testimony? Can you think of any questions that, or points that you want to make? Points that you make sure that the jury hears and understands? Do you want to help your attorney?
It's very hard. I think we would probably point out that it's very hard to prove his intention because that's no physical evidence or something like that.
So in other words, that you would say, how did you know that he was aiming the car? Okay, that would be one thing. You might also, yes.
I don't know, but why is it that it's a first-degree felony if you hit a police officer? Aren't they just like regular people? I think that's ridiculous.
Well, in Ohio, there are laws that protect police officers when, let's just say you're in a bank and it's getting robbed, and officers come to try to stop the robbery attempt, and the bank robber guns the officers down to keep them from being able to do their job, or somebody in this case intentionally runs over an officer to avoid getting a traffic ticket. Officers put themselves in the line of danger on a regular basis. So laws are written, it's not so much to protect them as it is to punish those that do it. It's an enhanced punishment crime to intentionally injure an officer in the line of duty.
But isn't that kind of the same? Like if someone else was like at the workplace and they're trying to do their job and then someone like injured them or they're injured?
Well, it's the type of job that they do. Their job is to provide protection to the general public. Not every job is doing that. So, I mean, do all of you, who else has trouble with that concept? I mean, it's basic concept of the case is that this is an enhanced situation because it's an officer involved.
You said that it's just a protection measure for an officer in line of duty, but the officer in this case was in off-duty in direct contract with the school. So his line of duty is it's what he personally wants to do because it's not really his underlying police officer duty.
And that's definitely going to be part of the discussion. But I just want to make sure that, is that a concept that anybody else wants, that we needed to go into any further in terms of the first degree felony part of it? Okay. All right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, so now in addition to questioning your witness, you have another opportunity to try and convince deciders here with some evidence, some exhibits. What would you want to show that's going to back up Officer Allen's story? What items would you want to have that will back up the story? His testimony.
Maybe the liquor.
Yeah. What else?
Pictures.
Of?
The foot, that's what I was about to say, yeah. The foot.
That would be x-rays, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good enough. Now, who are you going to, so that would pretty much wrap up your case. Who would you want to call? Who's going to move the story forward? Who do you want to call to tell your story, to help you tell? Because again, you've made these key arguments. Actually, I don't think that
Yeah, we've been skimming over a lot, and we're getting down to the wire on cheap time.
Okay. Just give us a couple of the key arguments here.
Scott Allen was off duty and not acting as a police officer at the time of the incident. The car should not be considered a deadly weapon. The post-trauma incident was a tragic mistake. Hank never intended to hurt Mr. Allen. Hank should not have been drinking, but his crime is not a first-degree felony. The case should be sent back to juvenile court where the penalty would better fit the incident.
Okay. Who would you have to help prove those points?
His girlfriend.
Haley. Haley, give us a real quick run through.
Well, Hank and I were drinking whiskey before we left for prom. We were drinking in his car that he had taken from his parents. And when we started to leave, Mr. Allen signaled for us to stop. But Hank panicked and he pushed the accelerator pedal. Then he pushed the accelerator pedal. My parents have been worried about me driving to prom with Hank because he was an unexperienced driver.
Okay. To keep it, because we still want to try to get a very quick, to have you see a quick background on the Supreme Court, a video. So you've heard the evidence, or you've heard the testimony from both sides, the case from both sides. What's your verdict? What's the jury verdict here?
Well, I don't think
I
he's
don't
not
think
guilty.
he's guilty of the first-degree felony, but he is guilty to an extent. But
I think he's guilty of the alcohol, but I don't
Yeah,
think he's
'cause he's
guilty of
also
hitting the
underage.
police
Right.
officer.
and 3 years in prison, I think that's a bit
I would know how it
ridiculous.
feels to hit the accelerator pedal.
I would say that that the case would probably end up going back to juvenile court.
Okay. In this case, he is guilty, but is that the end of the line for him? No? But does he have any other options under the law?
Yes.
What would that be?
3 days. 2 or 3 days.
Well, he would appeal to the appellate court, and the appellate court is much different. This is fact-finding. We've had the witnesses, we've had the evidence. This has all been about fact-finding, and now the case is centered on the law. And what you brought up would be one matter. Maybe this should not have gone to the juvenile court, or it shouldn't have left juvenile court. Maybe it should have been heard there. The other thing goes to the point of whether he is in fact off-duty or on-duty. Those are the questions before the court. And so the appellate court, there are 3 judges. They hear the oral arguments, and it is up to them to decide to uphold the trial court or to overturn the trial court. In this case, they uphold, and now the case goes before the Supreme Court. That is, if they decide to take it in. At this point, it's a matter of law. Hank, Officer Allen, they are, of course, they are parties, they are the central figures. But the larger issue is whether an off-duty policeman is, in fact, considered, in this case, subject to whether running over an off-duty policeman, or whether this is assault or not, and it's a larger issue. And that's what the court has to decide. They have to decide whether to take it in. Is this a big enough issue that it could happen again? In other words, we've got to settle this point of law. So, that's the question before the court. And why don't we come over, take a quick look at that, and then we'll go to upstairs to talk to the judge.